On April 9th, 2023, Season 2 of Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury blasted onto our screens with an intro to the tune of Slash by Yama. Now, at the end of this intro, we got to see some fan-favorite mobile suits being the Gundam Pharact, the Michaelis, and the Darilbalde sporting some new weaponry. This made me super excited that we're going to see some upgrades to those mobile suits, and in the end we kinda did, but we kind of didn't. And it kinda seemed like the series came and went and we were not going to see those awesome looking weapons. However, come January of this year, Bandai did release these weapons through P Bandai, and that's what I'm going to be taking a look at today. Basically, we've got some equipment upgrades for the high-grade Darilbalde, the high-grade Michaelis, the high-grade Gundam Pharact, as well as the high-grade Guels de Lanza. That and some stands as well. Now, you might be wondering, this is a premium Bandai exclusive kit. This is just weapons. Is it really worth it? And I have to say, after checking them out, I say 100%. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at this, the high-grade Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury Expansion Part Set 1, aka the Season 2 weapon upgrades for the high-grade Darilbalde, Michaelis, and the Gundam Pharact. Anyways, usually you can tell from that washed out color scheme on the box, this is a premium Bandai exclusive only. I got mine through those fantastic people over at Buy, so if you want some, you will find some there. Link down there in the description. Alright, so getting right on into the review, and we've already seen a bit of a glimpse of what these three awesome mecha look like with these pretty cool new additions. Honestly, I feel like it was a little bit of a kind of weird move by Bandai to make these P Bandai not available full retail, but hey, I suppose that's always the case with premium Bandai. Anyway, we're going to get these stripped off first, off the janky Bandai bases, and then we're going to go back in time a little bit to talk about the build of what is in here. So yeah, let's rewind a little bit. So when it comes to the build, what we've got here plastic-wise and box-wise is your usual high-grade size box and amount of plastic. So even though this is just an option set, it comes with quite a lot in here and a ton of color separation. There are stickers as well, but these are the usual kind of shell unit style ones. And overall, this was a pretty cool build. Now, at the same time, I wanted to build a brand new version of each of the kits to go with these, just so I could have the fully, well, Season 1 outfitted weapons versions and the Season 2 weapon versions, but that didn't entirely work out for me. I couldn't get them all done, but I will get back to that in a little bit. First off, I'm going to jump a little bit back and forward in today's video about the build and the parts. So I'm going to start right away with the overview of what is inside of this box. Then we'll rewind a little bit per mecha. So anyway, flashing forward to when you have everything in this box built, and this is what you get. Now, there's a whole lot in here, which might be a little bit on the shocking side. I found it hard to fit all of this in where I usually do fit in some accessories. Now, this is for every suit that this kit does, which is the high-grade Darilbalde, Michaelis, Gundam Pharact, and Guels de Lanza. So on top of that, that is not all that we get. We also get one of these runners in here as well, which is for one of those small little kind of hexagonal bases for using with bit staves and bit stave-like stuff. This can be used as it is or with an action base 4 or 5, so it's cool that this is included in here too. Now we're going to be taking a look at this stuff mecha by mecha, and we're going to be starting off with the high-grade Darilbalde, and this is the one that definitely wins here. The vast majority of the plastic inside of this box is for upgrading the Darilbalde into a bigger, beefier, heavier armed version. So what we're getting here is bigger shoulder shields than we would have seen before, 2 green beam effect parts, a brand new sword and an optional part for using with it, a brand new chunky beam rifle, as well as this huge backpack with 4 of those remote use forearms. So when it comes to the build of the parts for the Darilbalde right here, these build up in the exact same way we would have seen with the actual Darilbalde itself. That means we've got some big plates for up in the shoulder. These are made out of multiple parts that layer up nicely. We do have stickers for using on these. Not so bad, these are only the kind of shell unit style stickers. These only come in green, there is no off black ones. We've got some nice dark sections for underneath, including where they attach some thrusters. For the backpack arm sections, these are a little different from before with kind of a pointy element to them. They are completely in that dark grey as opposed to in red. And of course, the most awesome aspects, actually it's all awesome, but the rifle in here and the blade with the beam effect look incredible. Now, for this particular build right here, I decided to get a crispy brand new Darilbalde for it, mainly because I want to put side by side what the standard version looks like with the version we'll get by using the weapons inside of this kit, because there is a lot to be added to it, and it should be, when we're done, a whole lot different. That, and as always, which from Mercury kits are always such an absolute joy to build. Anyway, let's check this stuff out. Alright, so there we have two versions of the Darilbalde side by side. Now this is the standard version right here with all of its equipment attached on. So this is what you get in the standard kit. This one I have right here, I've just stripped off what has to come off in order to add on the new stuff. So that of course is the big old weapons off of the shoulders and the backpack. Besides that, it's not holding onto that cool big old glaive, and we will be getting a weapon that is a little bit more on the compact side. Also, I went with the green shell units on one of them and went with the black on the other, just kind of for the sake of having two Darilbaldes that kind of represent the two versions you can build with, well, the kits and the core kit when it comes to the shell units. Alright, so the first bit of equipment we're going to be taking a look at in here is the shield. So that is what it looks like right here. We've got a sticker on the front. These are nice and thick, nice rounded segment underneath, thruster, and the part then that attach into the shoulder right here. Just for the sake of comparison, here is the standard version. So it is a decent bit smaller. It's almost like they extended it further down the bottom right here and just gave it a little bit more length in one direction. Actually just shifted the length in general. And there's the bottom, so this has an extra thruster and a much more kind of interesting joint than the simple C-clip right here. Anyway, once again, there is what they look like side by side. The reason the heights are a little bit different is because the joint is also placed at a slightly different point on both of them, just like so. Anyway, let's get them attached. I'll also mention these little stands right here, these are included in the kit. These are the ones from it. They're handy. Getting these attached on is super simple. It's just a peg into a hole, just like so. So they just pop on like that. Exactly the same as what we would have seen in the base kit of the Darilbalde. Just that little bit bigger, and they mainly tend to hang down to the side. You can actually turn them out to the back. Of course, they do have thrusters on them if you want to, but they add a nice amount of bulk compared to the standard shoulder armors, but not a huge difference between the two. So once again, there's this side-by-side comparison between the two. So even though it adds some bulk, it does shift it around a little bit. For example, these ones do point up a lot higher, so they rest a little higher than what we would have seen, or what we do see with the new ones. The new ones have that big cross-style shell unit, which looks fantastic, and besides that, there is some other aspects too. For example, the older version of the Darilbalde doesn't have any kind of pivot this way and that way, but the new one actually does, so it can pivot back like so, and pivot slightly to the front. But everything else is pretty much the same. Actually, no, we've got, this kind of movement as well to it. So it does have somewhat of a fancier joint and just more bulk. So next up, we're going to be taking a look at the new backpack. So here's the older one just for the comparison's sake. So it is just a backpack that does match the body color-wise and that kind of dark brown. And then we have these two removable forearm segments right here, which can be used with the actual forearms. These are the beam emitting ones, and there are two of those attached on up there, just like so. And this right here is what it looks like when it is not attached. So size-wise, the brand new backpack right here is a whole lot bigger. So you've got bigger thrusters down bottom. It is in the exact same shade of dark brown, with a kind of grayishness to it. And instead of those two forearms, we've got these four right here. Now I assume these can also be used on the arms. I will test them out, but maybe they are just remote weapons. And like I mentioned, a whole lot bigger. This right here is a usual 2-peg backpack adapter. Attaches on in the exact same way, nice and simple, adding some more nice bulk with those big old shoulders. And before I absolutely completely forget, I am going to try it out to see if they can fit on as forearms with this kit. So I'm popping them off the back, attempting the attachment, and yes, they can. So if you want some cool darker forearms that do emit beams, the beams are included. They attach in just like so, this time in green instead of that purple that we saw with the other version of the Darilbalde. At least I think they were purple. This looks too cool to not try on the other side as well, so I just rearranged the bits on the backpack so we have some more bulk up towards the top, grab a second one, replace the right arm, popped in the beam as well. These are the type of beams that glow under blacklight, which is always nice, and there is a little bit of a pose of what it looks like with those beam arms like so. Looking pretty damn cool, and of course, if these can be used on the arms, they can also be used on the action bases. So just grabbing one of the action bases that comes included, popping one of these off like so. These just attach on like super simply like that, so you can have them in flight. Now this is one of the shorter ones. We do have longer little stand sections as well. Not a huge amount longer, but we have longer ones too, depending on how you'd like to line them up with the unit. Pretty cool. So the next weapon we have in here is the beam shot rifle. What it says in the instructions about this is, it's a portable firearm with 2 muzzles, which you can see right here in the end. We've got the top one and the bottom one. So this can fire regular beams and beam pellets. Kind of similar to, I guess, Sazabi's beam shotgun that has 2 modes of firing. So we do have a handle on the side here, so it can be held in 2 hands. The lower section right here is the actual blade known as the gun blade, but we'll pull that out a little bit later. This is just made out of a few parts of plastic, and the side up there is in, well, just one of those sticky stickers in green. So again, this weapon attached is simple enough. It's the usual sandwich routine, so pop off the back of the hand and throw the weapon into the hand, pop the back of the hand back on. Very, very easy. However, I will mention the wrist is a little on the weak side, so it's not really holding it up when you're kind of holding it at like angles like so. Actually, it's not really holding it up in any kind of angle. Wonder if this is just the kind of like split design aspect of the arm or what, but that is having a little bit or even a lot of bit of trouble right there. Anyway, that right there is what the weapon does look like attached, and it's a pretty cool weapon. This segment right up here at the front, this is the gun blade, and as it kind of implies, it's a gun and a blade. So first off, I always like to know, can a mobile suit actually reach to its stored weapons? And by the looks of things, yes, it most certainly can. Not a bother whatsoever. So removing the gun blade just involves taking it out just like so. It is extremely, extremely simple. That is what it looks like. That section right there, that is the gun. So if you ignore the top up there, actually, this is the stored blade. About to pop it off. So there is the gun. And it's a little bit of a parts formation to the actual usable beam blade, which is kind of similar to what we saw with the Gundam Schwarz set, which totally does make sense considering the development of that Gundam. This, though, is the nicest, and I mean nicest looking sword. Is it better than the Schwarz set one? Maybe. But yeah, between the glaive we saw with the standard Darilbalde and this right here, the Darilbalde has such cool weaponry. Popping this weapon into the hand is exactly the same. I always forget that the Darilbalde's hands are at a little bit of an angle, so that's why it wasn't going in at first, which is very nice though for blades, because it means you always have a nice slashing pose, as opposed to the normal 90-degree angle you'd get in a Gundam hand. This just looks astoundingly cool. This is an awesome weapon kit, and it's really raised the Darilbalde to Season 2 awesomeness. So anyway, there they are side by side. On the left is the Season 1 standard box version of the high-grade Darilbalde. On the right is the Season 2 upgrade weapons from this expansion part set. So which one do you prefer? Let me know down in the comments. I am totally in Season 2 town. Absolutely. The bigger backpack, the bigger shoulders, the cool compact rifle and blade. It's just oh so perfect. Not that there's anything wrong with that awesome glaive small backpack combo. So now moving on to what we've gotten here for the high-grade Michaelis, and that's it right here. So basically it's a bit of a weapon system. This is a shield and a lance with a couple of wires for using it with the Michaelis. So zooming on back in time a little bit to the build of this right here, this is both simple and absolutely fantastic at the same time. This does come on just 2 runners only, so that means there's 2 shades of plastic, being the white and that very, very, very dark shade of almost purplish. This builds up with a lot of moving parts and a lot of detail, so at first glance it might look a little bit misleading, but it's even more detailed than a big old shooty gauntlet antidote thing we saw on the standard version of the Michaelis. And just like I did with the Darilbalde, I did build a brand new Michaelis for trying this out so we can have them side by side to see the little bit of difference between what we would have had in Season 1 and what we have from this option set in Season 2. Alright, so once again, side by side, what we have right here on the left will be the Season 1 version. Right here on the right will be the Season 2 version. As you can see, the only thing I've changed so far is the fact that there is no shield on the right arm of this one right here. And that is essentially the only thing that is any different between the 2 versions. So this right here is what we're going to be taking a look at. This is known as the Javelin Bracer. So it's a combination of a javelin and a bracer, both of, well, I was going to do that anyway, but both of which kind of do their own thing. First off, we've got this right here, which is the main body of the whole thing being the javelin. This part moves up so you can grab the handle on there. This part can move out with a little bit of a blade section just like so. And this part here can pop off so it can move around as a kind of semi-independent weapon using a wire. Anyway, as for getting it attached, first off you just open this little piece right here, which negates the need for doing the whole sandwich hands things because you can just attach in like so and move up just like that. We've got this little piece right here which locks the whole part into that locking mechanism on the wrist like so. And then the bracer aspect just attaches on over that like so for a ridiculously nice looking javelin arm. So there we go, that is it when it comes to the Michaelis right here. It is just one weapon on the arm, but it really does complete the look. This one looks really one-armed compared to it, so you can see they really did have that in mind when they're thinking about the design. It is just so completed. Look at that. Very, very nice. Let's check out what it does. So on this weapon system right here, there are two weapons that do shoot out using the included wires. So the first one right here is the bracer up top. So using this as a semi-remote weapon is simple enough. We've got this wire in here, you attach it into the underside of the bracer segment just like so. We do have a little bit of a peg segment here, which you pop into one of the included action bases so you can pose it flying through the air, which is a nice addition. The other end then just attaches into the main body just like so, and that is what we get in the end. So this is pretty cool. Now, this isn't the only thing that can shoot out and fly around. We also have the lance too. Next up, pretty much the same, but a little bit different, is this section right here that pops off like this. So this is the business end of the lance, so it can be used as a remote weapon too. You just pop this little section in, once again with a wire. Once again, that is compatible with one of these bases. And anyway, that is what it looks like in a little bit of a pose. So there is the lance right there shot out. We've got the wire, which obviously won't hold it up with its own strength, but we got the stand included, and that does look pretty damn cool right there. So lastly, when it comes to what we're going to be taking a look at today is the Gundam Pharact. Now sadly, I did not have time to build a second one of these, so it's just going to be the one standing right here. I did get a second one to build, I did start into it, but sadly I did not get it built in time. Out of the three of these, I think the Gundam Pharact is definitely the most involved build, and yeah, sadly, no comparison this time, but you can already kind of see a little bit of a difference right there sticking out. That physically on the actual kit is the only difference, because you do have to swap out a little bit of one of the joints. Basically just take the rear section off of both hip joints and attach on a new one that is in the armor color, not the joint color, so it is in that dark, almost grayish navy color. This does have a hole in the back for attaching in those parts we just saw in order to mount the weapons on this version of Pharact. And speaking of what comes in the box once built, so what we get in here is this. This is a pair of what I can almost describe as like beam rifle halves or beam pistols that do combine together in a strike freedom kind of way. These are ridiculously cool, and what can I say? Let's check them out. So what we've got first off here is a pair of pistols referred to as the beam caliber. So there are two of these. They do have a little bit of a kind of transformation gimmick, but we'll keep that till they're actually attaching together. Both of these do have stickers attached. They look like that. They're just simple yellow stickers. And one interesting aspect, this does have a nice removable magazine just like this right here, which is always a very nice little bit of detail, but I do think it's part of the actual transformation as well that it does detach. There is a whole bunch of stuff you can do with these. These are really cool rifles. First off, these can be stored on these little sections right here that can be stored upwards like I had, drop down like so, and it's just a simple peg into hole routine right here. They pop on, and these add a nice little kind of side skirt aspect that mirror the upper backpack shoulder sections very, very nicely. That looks pretty cool. So as for getting the beam calibers into the hands, that is super simple. The one on the right here, you have to pop off the back of the hand. So this is sandwich style because of the guard section. Pops on super simple and looks like that once attached. Over on the other side, this one pops off, and we do have a little bit of a fold down handle, and even though this slides into the hand in the standard easy kind of way, the magazine right here does kind of get in the way a little bit. If you pose it just right with the elbows kind of flared out a little bit, you can pull off a pose just like this and it does work out. But you can always take that magazine off if it is in the way for certain poses, but otherwise these work out great, and these are for mid and short range combat. Let's talk about long range. So the second mode with this right here is the beam musket, where they're attached together. So you just pop the weapon out of the left hand like so. The front handle section can fold up, slide back, and then attach into a flip up section on the other rifle. And we do have a pull back little section towards the stock of this, which is very, very similar to the Strike Freedom's double rifle. So this is pretty cool. Overall looking pretty badass and in a matching color to the Pharact itself. Now there is one minor little issue with this I have found over time, and not a lot of time, I'd say about 30 seconds, this starts to actually move down like so. So it starts off like that, and then it starts to sag a little bit towards the front with the joint in there. Maybe if you just tighten up the joint that won't happen, or something like that, but on the whole, still a pretty cool weapon. That is a little bit annoying though. So lastly in here we've got these. These are some pink effect parts for using with Guels de Lanza and I guess Guels de Lanza or Standard de Lanza in order to make their beams pink. Now that is definitely a bit of a visual downgrade because these don't fluoresce under blue and black light like the green ones we would have seen with those kits. However, they, as far as I can tell, I assume these are the non-training beams. These are the lethal beams for using outside of the academy. Also, I will mention I won't be actually attaching those today because my Delanzas are in storage, not ready to grab like the ones, well, Darilbalde, Pharact, and Michaelis that we saw. Anyway, that right there is it for the review. I'm not actually going to rank these particular things right here because it's not really a full release kit, but I absolutely love them. There's only one minor letdown, which is the fact that there's a little bit of sag on that Pharact rifle, but besides that, everything works absolutely perfectly and really does update these kits in a really nice sort of way without really losing anything. You get more Darilbalde than anything else, but overall, all of this stuff is really cool and I highly recommend it. If you do want some of your own, link is down there in the description. I got mine through Buyee. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, this video right here would not have been possible without each and every single one of you guys, so thank you so much for watching, and as usual, special thanks to those of you who helped me out over on the channel memberships right here and on Patreon, including Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Dashil Marmion, Go Little Rockstar, Joe, RG59061, 10 Soldier YT, and Van Fawn.